Hi. um, Gosh, it day 2 of feeling good. No body pain. I think yesterday I might have just experienced a little bit on my joints, but I feel good. I feel renewed. I feel really good, and I know this will continue. I think the biggest piece that I that I learned that I've learned so far is just the amazing power that our mind has. um, you know, in mental health, we there's there's an understanding that the mind is very powerful. The brain is very powerful, and it can't really tell the difference between what's real and what isn't real. And it will still trigger a physiological response. And so, it's like when we close our eyes and we imagine losing a loved one, or even the thought of if someone tasks you to think about the worst thing happening to a loved one, you're just like, no, I can't even go there, right? Because it's so scary that even imagining it brings us some anxiety and some worry. And so it's just a reminder of how much power we actually hold within. And we don't even realize it. There's a lot of fear behind recognizing, acknowledging, and owning that, right? Because what is that going to mean then if you know that you have that ability to, if you have the ability to think that way, sway one side of worst case scenario, then what does that mean if we sway the other end, right? In terms of just the possibilities. And there's a lot of fear, I think, about embracing both sides. And really, again, bringing that back to the center and recognizing the power that we have within of being able to bring about the change that we want to see in the world, the change that we want to see within us, right? To start off. And, in mental health, we have goals for our clients. We have goals for treatment, right? There has to be something that we're working towards, right? That we want to see come to fruition, and just even our own goals. I mean, I've created vision boards for myself of just things that I want to achieve, and there's a bucket list. There's all these concepts of creating goals for ourselves, right? And so there's this sense of I think for some of us there's a fear of really embracing that power, for fear of failure, or fear of things not turning out as you had hoped, for the fear of disappointment even. And I think that's one of the things that I really experienced this past week, was this fear of relationships, right? This fear of getting hurt in relationships, this fear of being alone, right? Of what it means to not have a physical partner next to me, right? And so there's a fear of that. And if we were to look at it in the opposite end, right, what we're gaining from this, right? If we release the fears of relationships, then we're opening the doors to embracing the possibilities, right? Where if we, overcome the fears of being alone, then we'll embrace the relationship that we find within. And that, I think, ties back to this internal balance within ourselves, right? And so I think this is going to be letting go of fears. letting go of fears. And I actually wrote an intention for myself to meditate on about it. This morning, I actually woke up to with the purpose to meditate, and I listened to MJ's morning message, and she talked about it. She talked about letting go of the fears, right? Letting go of the things that hold me back, that are holding me back from manifesting the things that I want, and including this new beginning. Really, is what I'm hoping for. I'm manifesting in my mind, right? And a reminder of who I am. I'm the magician. I am at heart the magician of my life, and I need to own that power and use that energy wisely. And she kept talking about just increasing my meditation practice, and so part of that was writing into existence the saying. And then she talked about the message, a message that I was going to be getting, a message from my higher self, from my ancestors. And she pointed out how the message would be sent on a spiritual level. And after I was done listening to her, I picked up my phone, and she's on YouTube, right? So I follow her on YouTube. There's this other channel that I listen to that I've been drawn to, and I feel it speaks to me on a higher level, and it is this indie pop alternative radio station, and I kid you not, every time I listen to that, I feel like it's I don't know if it's necessarily my twin per se, but my twin's higher self communicating to me. And I know yesterday I talked about letting go of the old, and letting go of the illusion of the twin flame. And I think there's truth behind that for sure. What I learned today was that some twin flames, if not all, there's some type of level of toxicity, unhealthy situation where because the mirror that's held up is so intense, and what I learned is that it draws out a lot of the things that even at an unconscious level we didn't realize, and so it takes a lot of work to embrace that union. And so again, it's been the talk, and when I heard these songs, it's like every time I try to walk away, I get pulled in, I get drawn back in, only that this time I really feel I don't associate it with the person who I thought it was. I don't know if that makes sense. Like I as I was listening to the music, I was really it was definitely from this person's higher self, but it's like I wasn't even sure who the person was anymore. But there was comfort in knowing that this person exists, whoever this person is. And I'm actually listening to the soundtrack right now, because it brings me so much joy. It really does. I'm at the crossroads where I don't know who this person is, but just to know that they keep drawing me back, that their higher self is just pulling at me, tugging at my heart, and just not letting me let go. There's a reason for it. And I feel like I just need to listen. I need to follow. I need to be patient. And I think the words that were shared were just so meaningful in the songs, and were the inspiration to my my statement of intent, which I am going to share with you, because I think I know that I'm not the only one going through this. I know that there's probably more people stuck in similar situations, and I just want to touch on that, and if any of this could be helpful to any of you going through this, that's my goal. That's really the end goal, is just to let you know that you're not alone, that I'm right there with you figuring all of this out. But anyway, so I will go ahead and read to you what I wrote. So I initially started off with I will, but then we came out. I had to, I started off writing it out as I, and then I thought, you know what, it needs to be a we, because it's not just, again, everything being drawn out for the collective, right? More than me, beyond me. And so I wrote down, we will release any fears regarding third-party situations. And remember, third-party situations, it's not necessarily, it may have to do with another person involved, but it's also just any type of investment that we put into, whether it's another type of relationship, like a work relationship, or a project, or volunteer work. You know, sometimes there's that extreme where it kind of takes over and consumes a large part of our lives, that it causes an imbalance with the other relationships that we have. And so I just wanted to make sure I clarify that. So I wrote, we will release any fears regarding third-party situations. We will release fears of relationships, release fears of getting hurt, release fears of being alone. We will release any expectations, except to know that you truly love me and I truly love you, and that we will go slow to get to know the new version of ourselves. We will wait for each other, knowing we will tie up loose ends, learn to master loving ourselves wholly, learn to speak our truth with love and compassion. We will come together in divine timing. I look forward to getting to know the real new you. And so I spoke that into existence, and it just really resonated with me, and I cried because it was like the hope. I felt hope again, and it's a different hope, and it's something I'm going to fight for in my own way. And yeah, so I just wanted to share that. There's another part of this morning where I was fortunate enough to connect with someone, to connect with an individual who I know through family relationships, and it was really comforting to my ego to know that, even though I know I'm not alone in this process, you know, sometimes when you're in the emotional darkness of wherever you are, it truly does feel like you're alone, you know. And so I really wanted to, I was just so grateful. I was just so grateful that this person reached out. And I had thought about reaching out, but I wasn't sure. But I'm glad this person reached out. And, you know, it was a 30-minute conversation, and just hearing this individual's energy through the phone, and what this person has learned was just, it was beautiful. It was beautiful to witness. It was beautiful to hear. And I think, you know, I know our paths crossed for a reason. I haven't seen this individual in years. And I know we're going to meet up. I know we're going to see each other. I don't know when, but I know we will. And so, but it reminded me also, you know, just hearing the type of work that you know, this person is doing, and the creative projects that are coming out was so awesome and amazing. And I wrote down notes that I learned, mostly about prayer and things that I can add to my meditation experience. And just something that he spoke on regarding keeping the shadow self in the back seat, right? Not letting it drive. So I was really grateful for that 30-minute conversation. And yeah. And I continued listening to Mary Jo. She had this live Zoom live thing with Sonia Bakir. So she also has her own tarot reading site, and I'll include the names of their sites and links also. But they talked about the process of the masculine and the feminine, and just kind of where everyone was at. And again, just continued validation, right? That I'm not alone, that there's other people going through similar things. But really understanding the process, right? How are we going to bring about the balance between the masculine and the feminine? And I really truly believe it's this concept of learning to be the learner first, right? Learning the masculine, learning to be a listener, the masculine learning to be the learner and take that backseat, and then lead second, right? Learn first, lead second. And for the feminine, a graceful balance with that process of leading first, gracefully, and learning second, because there was this message that the feminine is more connected to the spiritual world, to that higher self, and so striking a balance between both the feminine and the masculine, and within ourselves, right? Within ourselves. I mean, I've been trying to practice Payu. Payu is this concept of understanding that our thoughts are what we say, what we do. There's consequences to that. And so Payu stands for attentiveness, for what is it? Being more, having more discernment with what we say and how we go about it. And so the more we are aware of how our words, how our thoughts, how our actions affect each other, the more we take a step back and think about, what we want to say, how we want to communicate it, so that what we say helps bring us closer rather than tear us apart. So it's definitely hard work because I think just with my own history of trauma, there is this tendency to, create a shield for ourselves to I don't know, like make sure we protect ourselves, we block certain things. And for me, a lot of it has been relationships. A lot of it has been letting people in, trusting people, and it's a cycle, a generational family, of occurring, and sometimes we're not even aware of it. And so, that forces us to get into this more aggressive position. And I feel like I was in that role a lot in my last relationship. And so I own that. I completely own that. And now in retrospect, I can see how I impacted the dynamics in that relationship. And, I mean, that's all we can do, really. I mean, we can sit and think of regret and feel ashamed, or we can just own that as part of the process and give ourselves grace. Give ourselves grace and love with that process of recognizing those sides of ourselves and moving forward to bridging the gaps, within ourselves and with those who we love around us, you know. So it was great. It was a great morning. It's been a great morning. My morning isn't over. There's so much to do. I've decided to share my morning tarot reads in a separate video to in efforts to make these videos shorter, and then that way you know, if those who are more geared towards the tarot reading, it'll just be that, and those that are more interested into my personal journey, they're like, I'm going through my own personal journey, why am I going to listen to you? But if it does resonate with you, anything, you know, I mean, it's all it takes is one seed, right? So you're more than welcome to continue to join me on this journey as I learn more about what's going on around me and within me, and what is coming my way. And this morning's tarot read was definitely more than just one card, and that's why I'm saying it, because it just seems like it's evolving, and I'm not fighting it. I'm just embracing it. I'm embracing it wholeheartedly. So that's all I wanted to share for now. I hope you guys have a great day.